Okay, Dennis.
Yes, Joe.
Model S refreshes out. Model X refreshes out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Model Y long range all-wheel drive is out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Standard range Model 3 is now gone, but we have the standard range plus.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, Tesla's lineup is kind of complete now, finally, right?
For the for most use cases, yeah.
There's no car that we're expecting, is what I'm saying, right? There's no, because we know long range all rear-wheel drive is canceled.
Well, the Cybertruck.
I meant like of current vehicles, but fine, Dennis. The Cybertruck. We can count the Cybertruck.
No, we're not expecting any other versions of the current model lineup.
Okay. So now that the versions are complete, do you think it's a good time to buy a Tesla? And which one do you think's the best buy as of now?
Well, if I go back to our EV Byte EV awards, I believe the both of us said the Model Y is the best overall EV to buy.
Best overall EV to buy, yeah. But do you think it's a good time to buy? Because we have the Model S refresh just came out, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thought process behind my argument. Model S refreshes out. Model X refreshes out.
Yes.
They are using a new interface, a new computer, a gaming computer.
You're assuming.
No, they told me it's a gaming computer to my mouth.
Yeah, but they didn't say like officially this is MCU 3 or hardware 4.
I believe we've seen internal documents of the actual the chips themselves and all that motherboard and nonsense and stuff, and it is different. But I'm the computer science major. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more than an assumption at this point is what I'm saying. I think it has been confirmed that it is not the same.
Well, it's a good assumption, but it's not official.
Based off of what I know, I think it is official. But I might be wrong about what I know.
All right.
Regardless,
I just want you to give that caveat.
Regardless, it does run a new interface. Mm-hmm. It runs a new UI entirely. It runs the same UI that we saw in the Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
It has the same screen in the Cybertruck. It has a yoke steering, which we saw in the Cybertruck.
Yes.
The Cybertruck's not an expensive car. It's not to compete with the Model S and X. The Cybertruck's an affordable truck.
Yes.
And it features all of these things found in the premium Teslas today.
Mm-hmm.
The Cybertruck's set to come out at the end of this year, which means you'll be able to get all of these features that is found in the $80,000 Model S in the $35,000 Cybertruck. Is it $35,000? What's it start at?
It's 39, but that comes out at the
Cybertruck
in 2022, like late 2022.
The next one is 59. So
yeah, 49 and 69, I think.
So it's basically, I mean, this is definitely not confirmed what I'm about to say, but it's assumed that the Cybertrucks will, because we haven't seen production version of the Cybertruck, we've only seen concept version of the Cybertruck, and again, the concept version had all of this stuff in it, so it's assumed that the production version will have it as well.
Right.
Which leads me to assume as well that it will eventually go into the Model 3 and Y. And we will see similar tech. Well, active noise cancellation maybe being the one thing that's too premium to put in, and the big sound system. But as far as MCU 3, we have confirmed also that there's a new autopilot hardware coming.
Mm-hmm.
There is autopilot hardware 4.0 coming.
Yeah.
I know we said that 3.0 was going to take us to autonomy, and Tesla's still sticking through it. They say that autonomy will come with autopilot 3.0, but autopilot 4.0 is just better. Which
doesn't has me scratching my head because it either works or it doesn't work.
So it seems like a lot of these changes are gonna come down in the lineup as well, and you'll be able to get these current premium changes for an affordable price just a year from now. Do you disagree?
That's how you feel?
Do you think that? I mean, it's just fully based on assumptions, but I think it's a safe assumption.
I'm not gonna call you wild for thinking that it might happen.
Okay.
But I'm also not sure that it will happen anytime soon.
As in these changes won't go into the 3-in-Y?
Yeah.
Or as in the Cybertruck will not receive the changes shown in the concept version?
Well, let's start from there. Like you said, it's shown in the concept version, so logically, you would think that since a production version of these features is being pushed, that it should, ergo, appear in the production version of the Cybertruck. You would hope
Which they showed
and
in
imagine.
the concept, right?
Yes. So it'd be silly for me to say no, that's not going to happen. But
Okay.
anything, man, the Cybertruck could be canceled for all I know. You know, with with how Tesla works. I don't think they would put a different type of interior in the cheaper version too. So I can't see that happening. So I do agree that these systems will probably put throughout the entire Cybertruck lineup, from the $39,000 one to the $69,000 one.
Yes.
But something within me just doesn't.
You think that the 3-in-Y is going to be separate from the Cybertruck?
Yeah, I feel like if
It's
any,
possible.
I
mean, we saw
no, sure,
it with the Model 3 and the Model S.
Sure, it's possible, but what's more likely, them putting in this premium interior and keeping the same price, or keeping the quote unquote outdated interior and trying to continue lower the price?
Well, the thing that's weird is the fact that you're going to have an affordable car that's similarly priced that has more features. But we've seen it before. Now that I think back, the Model 3 and Y were released with MCU 2, and the Model S and X had MCU 1 for 6 months to a year before they switched it to MCU 2.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be the first time. But even then, even if the Cybertruck comes out at the end of this year and it does have all of these changes and they haven't updated the 3-in-Y lineup, I think it's foolish to say that they wouldn't update the 3-in-Y lineup within 6 months to a year from then. I think eventually the 3-in-Y will have the MCU 3 and AP4.
Sure, but will they have the bigger screen, the yoke steering wheel?
Well, if the Cybertruck's going to have... See, the whole thing is basing it off the Cybertruck, because the Cybertruck's price compared to those two, not the luxury cars.
Well, to be fair, the cheapest Cybertruck won't be out till like the end of 2022, and who knows what the price of the Model 3 and the Y is going to be in 2 years from now.
I don't think we'll get much lower. I think the goal is to make a Model 2.
Well, what interior do you think the Model 2 is going to have? Do you think it's just going to be the current 3-in-Y?
If I had to guess, right, and make these statements publicly,
oh boy,
while trying not to look foolish, and age like milk a year from now, I would say the Cybertruck will come out with the same tech as the Model S and X has. I think it's going to take maybe 6 months after that for it to be introduced into the 3-in-Y, and then I think the Model 2 is going to have close to the interior of the current 3-in-Y. I don't think the base Model 2 is going to have the latest MCU. I think they need to separate. I mean, they're clearly doing it right now by separating MCU 2 inside the 3-in-Y versus MCU 3 and the S and X, assuming it's MCU 3, as a selling point. I think that needs to remain a selling point. And they're not going to throw MCU 1 in it, I'll tell you that much.
No.
So, but MCU 2 is definitely still usable. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Model 2 2-3 years from now gets released with MCU 2 while every other car has MCU 3. Wouldn't surprise me.
As always, I think demand is going to dictate any of these changes. I know we talked about it, that one of Tesla's greatest advantages in regard to constantly being in everyone's mind and not needing any advertisements is the fact that they constantly have something in the pipeline and are constantly making changes that are newsworthy. So I think that we're not going to see any sort of drastic changes to the interiors of the 3 and the Y as long as demand for them is high. And
well, I don't think the interior is going to change much. I think it's just going to be the processing power.
Oh, so you're more stuck on the actual
hardware.
The hardware, not
the tech. Yeah, no, not the interior refresh, the tech.
Well, you understand the screen I consider tech. You know, the bigger screen is a piece of tech for me.
Yeah, but I'm more focused on the fact that you could play Witcher 3 in it.
Supposedly. I need to see it.
That's what I'm talking about. and have a robotaxi. That's the tech I'm talking about.
I
Witcher 3 and robotaxi.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how much extra it costs Tesla to produce this supposed chip that's in there, along with the graphics capabilities to do it. I mean, if it's super expensive, I don't think they're going to put it in the lower production 3s and Ys. But, I mean...
Do you think when they do it, if they do it, the price will increase because they increased the S and X price?
Yeah.
Or do you think the S and X price is going to slowly come down
Well,
back to where it was?
I don't know if they're going to try to do further, like, production efficiency improvements to get prices down over the next year so that they can put the newer hardware in there without having to drastically increase the price of the cars. I don't think playing games in your car is that big of a selling point. I know I'm back on this. I just don't, especially when we keep pushing for higher charging rates, where the end goal is going to be sitting no longer than 15 minutes, 10 minutes in the car to charge. I don't want to play Witcher for only 10 minutes or Cyberpunk for 10 minutes.
When you're in a robotaxi, you can play Witcher while your car drives itself.
Well, okay, once robotaxis become a thing, and they can tell me that it's a thing, and they prove that it's a thing, and regulators have not regulated it to death, then I can see a very good reasoning for being able to play games in your car or other media, and then I can have an easier justification for having this faster computer in the 3 and the Y. But until then, I just don't know. Like you said, it's weird that potentially the Cybertruck will be a cheaper car and have faster hardware. But at the same time, I don't know how many people are going to be stuck on the fact of wow, I could play.
It's more than just games, though. I mean,
yeah,
Dennis,
I mean,
no.
You
How bad MCU 1
correct,
is compared
right?
to MCU 2.
Yeah. But I'm hoping it's not. I hope MCU 2 hasn't depreciated this year already, because MCU 2 is only 2 years old, 3.
Yeah, 3.
So, I eventually, yeah, sure, it will once again be as slow as MCU 1 was, but I'm hoping
MCU 1 wasn't slow from the start, though. That's the
correct.
thing.
No, that's what I'm saying.
More
I'm just hoping that it's not gonna, as soon as the new refresh Model S and X come out, I hope it's not gonna be the start of the death sentence for MCU 2, and we're gonna start seeing laggy interfaces and whatnot. I'm sure Tesla will.
That is how it went though with MCU 1 to 2. It really was 2 months before it was just doo-doo.
But I think, at least I hope, I'm doing the prayer hands right now, right? I hope Tesla does a better job of optimizing it, because now that I think about it, MCU 1 was exclusively in the Model S and X, right? Because the Model 3 came out with MCU 2, or at least maybe only the early models came out with MCU 1, right? So the population of people with MCU 1 back then is a fraction of the number of people with MCU 2 right now, because of all the 3s and the Ys and new S's and X's. So there's going to be a lot more pissed off people if MCU 2 starts to be bad than back then when it was just Model S and X owners with bad MCU 1. I'm hoping that the fact that there's more people using MCU 2 now than there were using MCU 1 back then will make Tesla's software team have a higher priority in terms of making it usable with MCU 2.
But is it worth the risk? Would you still consider buying a 3 or Y today, knowing that MCU 3 is bound?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd buy FSD if we're gonna be, if we might say something controversial.
That wasn't even a question. You just had to show me your controversial opinion for no reason.
I had to.
Okay, and then in terms of the S and X, which now is the latest system, and you could argue it's the one that's future proof, but you also have to question now. The price was increased after consistently decreasing it. So will that price go down? Do you think a year from now we're going to be back at the $69,420 price, and people buying it today will be paying $10,000 more? So is it even a good idea to buy an S or X today? because of the price.
Well,
There's a lot up in the air.
It is Tesla's the normal conventions of buying a car do not apply to Tesla, and I know we always meme this up that Tesla is a tech company, more than a car company, but it's very true for situations like this where I don't know any other car brand where you have to constantly think of, well, what if the price goes down next year? It's very similar to when I was building my computer, and you're constantly thinking of like the graphics card, for instance, like, should I just wait for next generation? What if it gets cheaper? And you're going to be stuck in this constant loop of like, well, the new thing is going to come out. Maybe I should save up money for that one, or should I buy the depreciated version now but be a generation behind? Like, that's what I'm imagining buying a Model S is right now. But the ultimate answer to that is you just gotta buy it. You just gotta buy it and hope with it, because otherwise you're never gonna buy a car from Tesla ever again if you're constantly worrying.
Then a lot of people get screwed. I got screwed.
Yeah.
I got screwed firsthand by Tesla. If I would have ordered my car 2 weeks later, I would have not had to pay $2,500 for MCU 2. My car was outdated less than 6 months after ownership. It was stopped being supported basically entirely.
I guess your best bet is to buy literally right now. So you have the longest time span of being like in the current generation.
You have to either buy right now or wait like at least a year and a half to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so weird to think about for a car.
So if I ask you again in 3 months, you're gonna say probably not a good time to buy?
Probably not. I mean, for Model S and X, maybe not. But I don't know. 3 and Y is different money. It's cheaper money, and I have faith that Tesla will not completely screw over MCU2 owners for at least the next 2-3 years. I hope. But that's just
they're
me.
getting better at this, because if you can argue that all the people who just bought Model S's and X's got screwed over. But they also saved $10,000 this time around. It's not like when I bought my car where I actually paid more money than the car would have cost a month later and got less stuff for it.
Yeah.
So they're getting better at it, but their system's still broken.
So as with most questions, it's up to you. Is it a good time to buy? Well, you gotta figure out your priorities. Are you hoping to play Cyberpunk and Witcher in your Model 3 and potentially have a smoother UI experience? Yeah, you might luck out in a year.
You also have the new battery coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that could be implemented into all of these cars that could really change everything. The new cells could maybe bring the Model 3 to 400 miles of range for the same price. Just
gotta find a 1-year lease or something. I don't know what to say.
Now I have you questioning everything. You were on board of yeah, sure, it's a great time. Now you're questioning everything.
I mean, it depends on the priorities. I wouldn't feel any type of way if I was in the position to buy a 3 and a Y right now. But if you are someone who wants to constantly be on the cutting edge of the technology that Tesla will bring, then yeah, maybe this is not the best time. But I
used one to hold you over.
Yeah, buy a used car to hold you over, and then figure it out from there. But I don't think you're getting much of a deal on used 3s and Ys right now. So, but I'm sure I don't know what the deals are on the quote unquote last gen S and X's right now.
Very good.
Yeah,
arguably best deal in used cars, honestly.
Well,
that's another story.
You heard it here. Best deal in used cars, according to my boy Gio. Use Model S and X. So go hop on that if you are hesitant on buying a new one.